If you had told Kimberley 3 years earlier that this man would become her husband, she would have laughed in your face. If success could heal a broken heart, Kimberley Eze would have been the happiest woman in Lagos. At 33, she had built the kind of life many people only dreamed about. Her interior design company was thriving. Her projects appeared in luxury magazines. Her clients included celebrities, politicians, and wealthy business owners. From the outside, she looked complete. But there are wounds money cannot touch, and Kimberley carried several of them. The deepest wound came from love, or rather, the lack of it. 3 years earlier, she had believed she found her forever. Daniel Martins, handsome, ambitious, charming, everything she thought she wanted. The wedding invitations had already been printed. The venue had been booked. Her wedding dress had arrived from London. She still remembered touching the fabric and imagining her future. Back then, she thought she was weeks away from becoming a wife. Instead, she became a lesson. Daniel Martin sat across from another woman in a restaurant, laughing, holding her hand, looking at her the exact same way he used to look at Kimberley. A private investigator had taken the photographs that eventually landed in Kimberley's hands. She remembered staring at them for nearly an hour, unable to breathe, unable to think, unable to understand how someone could make so many promises and break every single one. Kimberley stood inside her office overlooking Lagos. Her assistant entered carefully. Her assistant said, "Your 3 o'clock client is here." Kimberley answered, "Send them in." Her assistant told her, "And your mother called again." Kimberley sighed. Kimberley said, "I'm sure it's about marriage." Her assistant answered, "Marriage?" Kimberley laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was predictable. Everyone wanted Kimberley to find love again, except Kimberley. She had buried that dream a long time ago, or at least she thought she had. That evening, her elder sister Adora appeared at her apartment carrying food, which usually meant one thing. She wanted something. Adora knocking at her door. "Open the door." Kimberley answered, "No." Adora said, "Open the door before I embarrass you in front of your neighbors," and laughed, in a way siblings always do when trying to taunt you. Kimberley smiled to herself. She opened the door. Adora walked inside, immediately judging the apartment. Adora said to her, "You've been working too much." Kimberley replied, "I own a company." Adora said, "You live inside that company." Kimberley, "I'm fine." Adora sat down. Adora, looking at her, said, "No, you're functioning." The room became quiet because both women knew there was a difference. Adora dropped the question Kimberley had been avoiding. "When was the last time you went on a date?" Kimberley immediately got defensive. "Don't start." Adora said, "I'm serious." Kimberley, not wanting to have the conversation, said, "I said don't start." Adora finally dropped it. "His name is Ikenna." Kimberley immediately stood up. Adora quickly told her to sit down. Kimberley answered, "No." Adora, "Just hear me out." Kimberley, "I don't want to hear anything." Adora, "One dinner." Kimberley, "No." Adora, "One conversation." Kimberley, "No." Adora, "If you don't like him, I will never bring up another man again." Then Kimberley paused. That offer was tempting, very tempting, because it guaranteed peace. Adora said again, "One dinner." Kimberley, "One. And then we're done." Adora answered, "Deal." Neither woman knew it yet, but that single dinner would change everything. For the next 3 days, Kimberley regretted agreeing to the date. Not because she was nervous, because she was irritated. Irritated at herself, irritated at Adora, irritated at the possibility that some part of her still hoped. Hope was dangerous. Hope was what convinced you to trust people. And trust was expensive. By Friday evening, she was standing in front of her wardrobe, wondering why she even cared what she wore. Kimberley said, "It's a dinner, not an interview." Yet, she changed outfits 3 times. Not because she wanted to impress him. At least, that's what she told herself. 40 minutes later, she arrived at one of Lagos's most exclusive restaurants. She checked her watch. 7 p.m. No Ikenna. 7:05 p.m. Still no Ikenna. Her irritation grew. 7:10 p.m. Nothing. Kimberley said, "Typical." She reached for her handbag. Then a voice spoke behind her. Ikenna, in a gentle voice, said, "I deserve that look." Kimberley turned. For a moment, she forgot her prepared speech. Forgot her annoyance. Forgot everything. Because the man standing before her looked nothing like she expected. No entourage, no arrogance, no dramatic entrance. Just quiet confidence. A calm smile. The kind of man who didn't seem interested in proving anything. Ikenna Okafor is a 37-year-old successful estate developer, wealthy, intelligent, soft-spoken, and emotionally mature. He is everything you would call a perfect gentleman. Apologizing for showing up late, Ikenna said, "I'm sorry I'm late." Kimberley, still a little irritated, said, 10 minutes? Ikenna explained why he came late. He said, an elderly man had a flat tire. Kimberley asked, "And?" Ikenna answered, "I stopped." Kimberley stared at him. Ikenna said, "I know, terrible first impression." To her surprise, she laughed. The first genuine laugh she'd had all week. For the next 15 minutes, Kimberley waited for the usual performance. The bragging, the wealth display, the self-promotion. It never came. Instead, Ikenna asked questions. Real questions. Not questions designed to impress. Questions designed to understand. Ikenna asked, "What made you choose interior design?" Kimberley answered, "I didn't choose it. It chose me." Ikenna said, "That's usually how passion works." Hours passed. Neither noticed. For the first time in years, Kimberley wasn't guarding every word. She wasn't calculating. She wasn't protecting herself. She was simply talking. And somehow, that felt more intimate than flirting. Eventually, dinner ended. The waiter brought the bill. Before Kimberley could reach for her card, it was already settled. Kimberley said, "I could have paid." Ikenna answered, "I know." Kimberley asked, "Then why didn't you let me?" Ikenna said, "Because I invited you." Simple. No speech, no ego, no attempt to make her feel indebted. Just simplicity. Outside the restaurant, the evening air felt lighter. Ikenna said, "Thank you for coming." Kimberley replied, "Thank you for being less annoying than I expected." Ikenna smiled and said, "I'll take that as a compliment." Kimberley, "You should." A brief silence followed. Then Ikenna surprised her again. Ikenna said, "I enjoyed tonight." Kimberley replied, "I did too." Ikenna continued, "If you don't want another date, I understand." Kimberley blinked. Most men pushed. Most men negotiated. Most men tried convincing. This man simply accepted whatever answer she gave. For some reason, that unsettled her. Kimberley said, "What if I do?" Ikenna replied, "Then I'd like that." Again, simple. No games, no pressure. As Kimberley drove home, she found herself smiling. Then immediately stopped smiling. Then smiled again.